fundamentals of what this nation was built upon. So Jacob has run an amazing campaign. I'm going to encourage him to press on because I know that God has called him, and that sometimes it seems like you're up, David against Goliath. But we have to remember, those that trust in the Lord shall renew their strength and mount up like wings of eagles. So anyway, I'm going to let Jacob speak and let him tell you what's on his heart. And thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, Christy. And you know you're in the right place when you hear somebody's quoting scripture. So I appreciate that very much. I thought about what I would talk about just briefly, and that's why essentially we're all here and why we all think of July 4th is the defense of essential liberty. And getting beyond the parties, just like what Christy said, I'm a Republican. I've always been a Republican. I will remain a Republican. But I know that we have problems within our own party. We have a vast majority here in Missouri in the state legislature. But we still had a budget that took $300 million in stimulus funds from the federal government. I don't think they've heard us. We have to look at our state reps and our state senators, and we have to talk to them. We have to educate them. We have to let them know what we want. We have to get them so that they're listening to we, the people, instead of them, either the party leadership or them, their special interests. There are several here in Missouri that are very, very powerful. They're very wealthy on the Republican side, and they make a big difference. And they get listened to over our voices. And that's something that Don and I ran into this spring when we spent some time up in Jefferson City. And we see the bubble that those guys and gals get in, and they need us. They actually need us in Jeff City to go up there and sit in their office and remind them, why did we send you there? We didn't send you there to expand the government. Just look at how many bills were introduced and how many of those bills were introduced by Republicans. There were over 1,000. And then how many were passed? It's just incredible that they keep expanding government, but we have over 3/4 of the state Senate, and we have two-thirds of the state senators, we almost have 2/3 of the House in Missouri. Yet they keep expanding government. They're not getting the message from we the people. And so when you hear me talk about the Republican Party and how I want to see changes, I'm not leaving the party. What I want is to change the party from the inside so it actually reflects us who support them. We are center-right people. We need center-right state representatives and state senators and congressmen and senators at the federal level that actually vote that way. I'm less worried about what comes out of their mouths than I am about what they're promoting in legislation and how they're voting. Give you an example at the federal level. They just passed overwhelmingly patent reform, and that's just so that inventors can have their inventions protected. But what they did is they went with an international system. It was our Republicans that did it. It was our guys. We have to get the people on our team to start playing on our team. We have to start putting the pressure on them, or we have to replace them. We have to do what a lot of Republicans did across the country in 2010 when they ran a Tea Party candidate against a Republican incumbent, and they won those primaries. And now we have people like Rand Paul is in the Senate. There are several Congress people that are now in Congress because people like you got up and said, you know what, our Republican incumbent, I like the guy, but he's not reflecting we in Congress. And they were willing to get behind candidates and do it. So not only do we have to get out and defeat progressives with a D on their chest, we also have to do what they're doing over in Kansas. They have a rhino retirement that's going on in Kansas for any of you that are here from Kansas. Well, that's what they're doing. They're going to retire the rhinos over there because it's not enough to wear the R on your sweatshirt anymore. We have to have a higher standard for elected representatives that they reflect us. We are a center-right party. We need center-right votes. So I hope that you guys will pay attention to information that Donna will put out. I'll be working with her on the Eagle Forum. She's also started with the Missouri Republican Women's Chapter because she has a heartfelt desire to change the party from the inside. We don't want the party to go away. We want it to reflect its platform. We want the people who actually take the votes to reflect what the platform says. That's what attracts us to the party. It's not the fact that they have an R on their chest, not for me anyway. What matters to me is how they act when it counts. When the vote counts, how are they voting? And if they don't vote the majority of the time the way we want them to, then we've got to replace them. Think about it. The Chiefs do it all the time. They find a better player. And hopefully the Royals will find a better player. But that's what they do, and we have to adapt the same attitude as Republicans. If we've got a player on the field who's not cutting it, well, okay, let's cut them, and let's get somebody else in there. And if that player doesn't match up, then let's get somebody else. It should not be sacrosanct anymore that just because somebody's a Republican incumbent that we say, sure, go do whatever you want. We're right here in Missouri, on that vote on the patent, every Democrat voted for it. That should tell you something. Well, 3 of our Republicans voted for it, too. Sam Graves from this area voted for that with his friend Emanuel Cleaver. Very disappointed in that. My friend Vicky Harser voted against it, which I very much appreciated. She is a true conservative. Blaine Lutemeyer voted for it. Billy Long from down in southwest Missouri, probably the safest Republican district in the entire state. He voted for it. We got to call him up and say, why did you do that? Why did you adopt international law over the United States Constitution? That doesn't cut it anymore. So my message today is, keep coming out to these rallies. Watch the way that our elected representatives at the state and the national level vote. And start thinking about it. If it's on the state level, maybe you need to run. Particularly if you're in a safe Republican district and that Republican is not representing you, think about running in the primary. And let's get true conservatives in office, because, ladies and gentlemen, it breaks my heart that for 80 years our country has gone in a progressive direction, and it is not stopping. And even though we have a Congress that half of it is completely controlled by Republicans, we're still drifting to the left. It is time for us to stand up, for us people in the Tea Party who actually believe in the Constitution and conservatism, to stand up and take control of our party. And thank you for coming out here today. May God bless all of you, and may God bless America.